So my experience as a professional cyclist and musician inspires the way that I write music because I feel like when you're on the bike, you have to be so disciplined, whether it's in training or with your team. And when you write a song, I look at music as there's a practical side of it and then there's the inspirational side. You would not be able to execute writing a song quickly if you don't focus on the practical side. So I write every single day. Just like on the bike, I train a lot of hours. My coach, have me doing something what's called base mileage that essentially helps bring my engine I'm able to ride for long distances. So when it's time to do intervals, my body won't, fatigue quickly. And the same thing with performing or writing music. You have to put those 10,000 hours in order to be able to write a song in 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, yeah. I am definitely a proud New Yorker, and like the city's grit represents, to me, never giving up. I feel like I have been in positions where I should have, quote unquote, given up, and I just haven't. And now the grit, I feel like you feel a lot of it during the colder months, and I absolutely hate the cold weather. It is not for me. But then the last 3 months of the summer, you get to experience that vibrancy. Everybody in New York is out. Everybody knows all the good pizza spots. And that's most of my family lives in New York, and I'm a very, very family-oriented person, so I get to see them a lot. Go over to my aunt's house for Trinidadian food, and yeah, it's great to be a New Yorker. Yeah, that's a great question. So it is difficult for me to balance both cycling and music. And I have an incredible coach he understands that music is non-negotiable. And what really pushes me to continue to do it selfishly is I can't live without either of them. I don't know how to explain it. When I'm on the bike, I'm thinking of songs. I'm writing songs, I'm singing songs. When I get on stage, that same feeling that I feel lining up on the start line, it's very similar. It's not quite nervousness, it's excitement. Mostly because I try to be as best prepared as possible. But I just want to show people that we are human beings, we're multifaceted. You don't have to choose one thing. My niece, she's 6 years old, and she said to me that she wants to be a storm chaser, an astronaut, and a scientist. And I said, you could do all three. You have this life, and in the grand scheme of things, we're all but a speck. So you might as well try to do everything you can before your time is up. Okay, so a few months ago, I have been living, well, actually for the past 3 years, probably living like a nomad. And it's been tough financially, of course. I used to live in California and Oakland specifically at one point. And I just packed up all my stuff and put it in storage. After I left corporate America, I was like, I'm doing music, I'm doing cycling full time. And I had the support of my family, which I greatly appreciate. They didn't have to do that, open up their home to me to come back and stay. And I had over $50,000 worth of belongings in storage in California. And I'd become behind on the payments. Now I had sort of a verbal understanding between me and my property manager at the time that I would pay, but I would pay what I could. So when you looked at my balance, in my portal, the storage unit, I still hadn't fulfilled the payment for that month, even though I was paying little by little. So anyway, fast forward to probably a more strict property manager. Someone looked through my file, is what I speculate, and they're like, this person's not up to date with their payments. And they sold the units. I was notified, but through voice message and email. It had a bike that I had owned since I was 16 years old. It had some of my first music recordings, the EP album artwork, because I would get them blown up and printed. And it had all this clothes. I'm a huge sneakerhead, all those shoes gone. Some of my Versace heels, and not to stunt on Versace because I definitely get them when they're sample sale, but that's my favorite brand, of high fashion. And I remember I was out with my sister at the beach, Rockaway Beach, And I found out that just like that, $50,000 worth of my stuff had been sold for like $400 each is what the storage unit sold. That was a tough time, but a week after that, I learned that I had signed my first professional cycling contract. And it was like, you know, I don't know why that happened, but this is the universe, this is God, whatever higher power you believe in, telling me to like keep going. I got you. You know, it's just things at the end of the day. Yeah, so I channel the energy from cycling into music because the way a race plays out is very different every single time. So the race usually starts off pretty fast, right? But there might be 30 miles into the race, an attack happens, like an offensive attack, meaning one of the cyclists in the peloton has put in a really hard effort to try to break away from the rest of the group. And when singing a song, I don't want the melody to always be the same. So my engineer probably hates this from me, but every hook, I try to sing it differently. Instead of copying and pasting the first hook to the second and the last, I'm like, how about I just sing it over? And he's like, but I already have a hook. I'm like, yeah, but I want to do it a little bit differently. Or maybe I don't want to belt it. Maybe I want to, you know, whisper this time. So you always take that listener on a roller coaster and add like ear candy, you know, like you can be soft and subtle sometimes, and other times you're really aggressive. And that's how we live our lives. Like, I'm not gonna be nice all the time, so why should I try to portray this false image in my music that reflects who I am?